All right, guys, welcome back. Saturday night, BDTR live. Now, believe it or not, Ted Simpson crawled out from whatever rock he's been hiding under since he was unceremoniously defeated by quite a bit in the Huntingdon Commissioner Republican primary. Now, I just got this screenshot last night, and I'm absolutely losing it because with everything with Reader, the one thing it's not going to help you is Ted Simpson's endorsement.
No.
And I have not seen anywhere where he's denounced this. He might try to argue, well, it's not really an endorsement. Dude, one of your former competitors in the election, another candidate, came out and basically said he's supporting you and that he does support you. That's an endorsement, okay? You got an endorsement from Ted the Ped motherfucking Simpson, all right? So
We can't make this shit up. This is like some kind of crazy sitcom at this point. It feels like it's not real. Please tell me it's not real.
so true. So true. But so we got it's working. Okay, so this is what Ted posts on Reader's campaign page. You ran a honest campaign. So once again, Ted with his, mastery of the English language here. You worked harder and smarter than the rest of us. I was accused of murder, rape, and so many other things by really like being a pedophile. Okay, you missed that one. What else was there? Still trying to figure out how you're not in jail for those 400 violations of the Gun Control Act, which we'll get into that here in a minute. If you guys look in the comments, I actually posted the Ted Simpson files, which we released along with a podcast that kind of goes through everything. So if you want the long version, go ahead and check that out. I'm assuming most of you guys, since probably a lot of Huntingdon folks are in here, you probably know exactly who Ted Simpson is. Anybody who doesn't, I'd invite you to check it out because he's a real interesting guy, not in a good way. So what I'm looking for is now, I did reach out to Reader's campaign. I emailed him last night, said the show's tonight, gave him the number, call in, denounce Simpson on air. Will he do it? Have to wait and see. We'll probably be on till about 9. So, I mean, he's got time. I'm sure he's got better things to do, like, go make some more inspirational posts and run a clean campaign because he doesn't want anybody, poking at his skeletons. So let's go on over just a real quick rundown of Ted Simpson here. So to address the murder thing, I guess we'll do that first. It's actually at the bottom here. So I don't think anybody actually accused him of murder. I don't remember that. It was basically, it would have been manslaughter. I don't know how he didn't at least get like a reckless endangerment for this, but basically he was probably driving like a jackass, loses control of his car, hits this guy. What was his name here? Was it Wade Krebs, I think? But he ends up going into the service station and just like smashing into this guy. Now, I think he died from something unrelated a couple years later. Clyde Krebs. Okay, Clyde Krebs Jr. So, yeah, so that's where the murder thing comes from. It's not like somebody just pulled it out of their ass and there's absolutely no basis for it. Obviously, even if he wasn't responsible for killing the guy, he seriously injured him. All right. And once again, zero accountability because I'm sure his dad got on the phone, old Kerry Simpson. Oh, just let it go. Just let it go. So I made that post of Kerry Simpson calling from hell, to tell me, don't do the podcast, Chris, because that's what he used to do. He used to call everybody. And now here's another interesting thing. And like I said, I left the links so you guys can, because I'm just going through this real quick because we already did a podcast on Ted. But
we don't want to waste much more time on him.
Yeah, so he gets charged with impersonating an officer because he did. Okay, so the trooper asked him. He gets pulled over for speeding, and it says, "I understand he displayed a badge which should have read honorary, and for that I apologize and will get corrected." That's what this. Somehow Simpson ends up with this like fake sheriff's badge that he runs around with. Okay, he might still. I don't know. I guess he hasn't tried to use it to get out of his speeding ticket lately that I'm aware of. So he pulls him over. Wagner pulls him over for speeding. And so he's sitting there with the badge like on his lap, I guess, when the cop comes up. And the cop asks him, "Are you a sheriff's deputy or whatever?" And he says, "Yeah." Then the cop runs his stuff, and yeah, it turns out he's not. So I don't see how he didn't impersonate an officer, especially when you're going to lie to a cop with a fake badge. But, whatever. I guess the, old Carrie probably called up the judge like, hey, just let it go. And there was something about they didn't want to have this sheriff from Indiana show up and testify. It's just, you guys will just have to listen to the other podcasts. I get into it. Here's another fun thing about Simpson. Because when he originally ran, they put, oh, he's got a clean background, whatever. You can never find what happened with any of these cases, but they still exist, mostly because he created the record with those 2 lawsuits, which I'll get to in here in a minute. But this one is most interesting here. So, and his real name's John Frederick Simpson, for anybody who isn't aware. So when you look him up, you have to use his real name. We actually jokingly, when the election happened, yes. We were like, his supporters are so dumb, they're not going to be able to find him on the ballot because he has to be on there as John Simpson. And I shit you not.
Sure as hell.
Somebody actually made that comment on his
I got the screenshot when we were driving the one day. I couldn't believe it because they're like, we went to vote for you. We couldn't find you though, man.
I mean, you can't make this shit up, guys, like I said. So anyway, and this is down, toward, we're not in this part of West Virginia, but
hi, Mom.
In our state. So John Frederick Simpson of Huntingdon, PA, was indicted on a felony count of false pretenses against the town of Ridgely. Simpson's accused of using fraudulent credentials to get hired as a police officer, claiming he had extensive police experience. Simpson hadn't actually worked for any police agencies, and it appears he acquired some of the credentials from a sheriff in Indiana. Same credentials that he gets pulled out when he gets pulled out for speeding. He's like, here's my fake police badge. Yeah, I'm a sheriff's deputy. Here's a little snippet, and I know people are going to cry about that, but also if I just put the whole article, they wouldn't be able to find it. So here is the actual article. I believe it's up in here, and then I just blew up the snippet here, so it was just easier to read. But the entire page of the paper, the Cumberland Times News, that's the entire page on that. So now we'll get back to, this is the one he really hates. And I think it's funny he didn't mention the pedophile thing. Because we've been riding him on that for years, so I guess he just didn't want to, bring that up. Because we definitely, there's been allegations that he's a pedophile because, we might be a pedophile. So this Sergeant Thomas Nicholas initiated a police investigation on December 6, 2006, after receiving a report that Simpson had sexually assaulted a 16-year-old girl. Simpson was the manager of the radio station. His dad owned the radio station. That's where the big bad Carrie Simpson got all his money from, which, for the record, I've been told that Carrie wasn't the bad guy, but he definitely helped create the monster that is Ted. So during the investigation, Nicholas contacts 2 Pennsylvania state troopers believed to be familiar with Simpson's previous charges of furnishing alcohol to minors, impersonating a public servant, prohibited offensive weapons. So Ted's already, been through the system here, and trying to find the part.
But he has a clean record.
Yeah. Bruce
and
Pergament.
He's completely transparent.
If you say anything bad about Ted, we're gonna get you. Yeah, okay, Bruce, how'd that work out for you? Oh, that's right, he lost the election. How's your how's those warranties at the car lot going, Bruce? He tried to argue with me that when I told him if you buy a used car, it's sold as is, period. No, there's a warranty. No, by law, it's sold as is. That's why the Lemon Law doesn't apply. Okay, that's a fact. Get over it.
That's why if you really have to go there, it's, I think, the Magnuson Act that you have to try and enact, and
yeah,
that's really
it's
hard
a
to do.
shit show. I wouldn't buy cars from him because he doesn't seem like an honest person to me. If you're gonna, well, here's the thing. So it was like the skinhead gang came out and supported Ted Simpson. So I don't know, like his reader, like, does he want the skinhead support now? Is that why he won't denounce Simpson? So I'm trying to go through. I don't want to take up a bunch of time with this because, like I said, there's a whole other podcast on it. Yeah. And then this is the other one where he sues the ATF trying to get his license, his FFL back. Because it was taken because he got caught not doing paperwork correctly, transferring guns to himself, then selling them without background checks at gun shows. And how the hell he didn't end up in jail is, I don't know. I don't have that answer. Doesn't make sense to me. He should be. But this is the guy who, and of course, you can't forget about this. So a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with the Huntingdon County Concerned Citizens page, right? This is one of the first posts he made on there. Now, good old Ted the Ped, he won't engage with me, okay? He doesn't want to have a debate or argument, whatever, with me. He never has. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but it's going to be hard to beat me in an argument when I'm just throwing
His
facts.
grammar is awful. As a side
it's
note.
it's
Like
horrific.
my English teacher, Miss Vlasic, I'm so sorry for the hell I put you through. They know my spelling's bad, my grammar's bad, my like outside of spell check. I can do better than this.
So this is what he posts on here, and I ripped him a new one on this. Called him a fraud, whatever. But you are hiding behind a page. You're committing libel. And the thing is, like on Facebook, I mean, we know from Crazy Chris, like you can get in and do 100 edits if you have. He is so bold and so stupid. He doesn't even edit it because he just thinks it's liable because he did that more than once. That's how fucking stupid he is. Yeah. So let's see your credentials as an attorney to determine liable. Well, like, dude, did you pass the 5th grade? I mean, your grammar is atrocious. Quoting a civil case where a attorney, once again, sued 2 people for spreading false rumors. Well, guess what? The case got thrown out. And the only reason there's any record of that is because you sued the ATF and you sued those police officers. It's all your fault, you idiot. You are a moron. Okay? This is the guy. I mean, I was kind of surprised he even got 6.5% of the vote. I really thought Chokey was going to pull one over on him. The fuck was her name? I don't remember. They lied, charges that were simply never filed. And if you go back through the police talk about how all his charges magically go away for political reasons. All right. Those people got sued. Well, guess what? They got sued and the case got thrown out because it was a shitty case. You never had a lawsuit. You just sued them because you wanted to throw some money at it and try to, I guess, scare them off from trying to prosecute the next time you're giving alcohol to minors. Because it sounds like it happened multiple times that these cops already knew about this prior stuff. So,
because they said, was it in the wording convictions?
Yes. So here's the thing. All right. The point is, going back, because I always love to bring up Ted the Ped because he's always fun to talk about. All right. So this guy endorses Reader. And what does Reader do? Nothing from what I've seen. If there's one guy you want to denounce, keep in mind, Simpson is, Reader's really riding this military service hard, which, that's fine. He served. I don't doubt that. I've seen his DD-214.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Somebody posted their DD-214. Apparently some people can't, some people can. So I'm not questioning his service or anything, but I think he would definitely question Ted, who, after all the bullshit Ted put out there, oh, and I joined the Navy. No, you didn't.
No.
You are so full of shit. You never served a day in your life. You don't have a DD-214. You never went to basic because somehow it came up that he tried to get out of it. Oh, well, I went to MEPS and then I found out I had cancer at MEPS.
I'm sorry. Anybody who's gone to MEPS knows that they do not check you. Like, they do a bunch of different tests. Yes, some of them are outrageous. Like, the duck walk. I wasn't like, it was the silliest thing. Like, I was so tense that day. But when I got into the room, they're like, okay, do the duck walk. I was like,
well, see, and if he would have said like he found out he had AIDS or something, that'd be believable because they do test you for that. Is something they test you for.
Yeah, they check you for that. Like, for the women, they literally make you pee in a cup to test it for like all these drugs. But then they also in front of you, and it's the most awkward thing ever because like there was a girl in the group that I went that actually was. They take your piss cup and they take a pregnancy test in front of you and they stick it in there and they like stare you down the whole time. Like, are you guilty? Should you be worried? They like make it super uncomfortable.
That's
so like
hilarious.
I remember being like 3 or 4 back, and the one girl, she ended up being pregnant.
Oh
Because even the people when they looked at it, like they look surprised, even because they're like, oh shit, and then they like looked at her with that look of oh shit, and then she looked down at it, and then there was this like really awkward, quiet pause, and they just kind of like gestured for her to like follow them without announcing it, but we all caught it. We're women, we're not stupid.
Well, and so
Sorry.
okay, so I'm just gonna accept it. I guess Reader's not going to denounce this. He doesn't want this guy's support. Maybe he wants those, the 3 skinhead vote or whatever, because there's probably like, I think there's about 3 of them in Huntingdon County from what I found. And by the way, Ted, if you're like, oh, there's never a skinhead, he's making that up. No, dude, like Harry used to talk so much shit about how he was a big bad guy, was running with the skinheads. I mean, Harry's not the best source of information, but there's certain things that he says that you can tell he's not full of shit every once in a great while, and that was one of them. He was like proud of that because I used to give him shit about it. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like it's well, back then it was like 2017, I think, but I'm like, it's maybe time to move past those kind of views.
I just had another thought of another character. I wonder whatever happened to Scotty Boy. I gotta look into the Poland situation.
I don't know.
We'll have to look into that.
Him and Pergament and all them guys just kind of disappeared, and then Ted
crawled back underneath rocks. And suddenly Ted felt
Ted's coming. Well, here's the best part too. So this Steven Yetter, and I was really hoping that Steven Yetter man was going to get in the comments tonight because he's been enlightening folks on Mr. Reader. So, but I was really surprised that Ted's coming out to support Reader now, and I think it's just a fuck you to Kurt because he feels like Kurt's part of the people that destroyed him or whatever, and when he really destroyed himself.
Yeah, the part about the people I revered turned their backs on me.
Revered. Well, I can tell you what, Ted never revered me because I've been ripping him a new asshole since I found out who the guy was.
I'm sorry if that's how you talk about and like express your devotion to people you revere. Oh my God.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Maybe he had like a shrine at his house to George, and he'd go pray in front of a big George statue. I don't know.
Pardon me, I'm still sick, everyone.
I have no evidence either way on that. It's a possibility. Anything's possible.
Welcome everyone who's joining in late, and welcome again to everyone who's been here from the gate.
But back to the Steven Yetter thing. So there was this guy. I'm not sure if because I think I did look it up, and there actually is a Steven Yetter somewhere. So I don't know if this is a real person, but he was claiming he's the one that exposed Ted and did all this, but he was a real big like Reader lackey. So newsflash, Ted, the guy that you're putting your weight behind that's, dragging him to the bottom of the ocean, he was one of the bigger ones that was trying to bring you down, allegedly. Now, we know that, I put a lot of the information out there that's out there because I had it. And we did learn some new stuff along the way. Like I got that newspaper clipping when, you got charged for defrauding Berkeley and all that shit. But this Yetter guy, he's railing on you. Now you're going to throw your weight behind Reader. I mean, I feel like, what did Reader promise him? Like, why would you want Ted Simpson's endorsement? I can't. Reader, you cannot be that fucking stupid. All right? I know you're kind of dumb, but you're not that dumb. Come on, man.
I mean, even you probably were hearing rumor of like the talk from this podcast and the page about all the shit with Ted. Like, you gotta know.
And you can look it up. I put everything right there for you. If you don't believe me, go back, listen to the podcast, follow along. That's why I put that WordPress article with all everything we can cite there.
And you figured I had to pin it. I'm proud of you.
Oh yeah, it's easy when you start up the. You can pin a comment before you even go live.
Ooh.
But yeah, and I'm just like, what is he going to denounce him or what? And there's another issue with WTAJ. All right, so I know the lady that was on here the other night has reached out to them. Basically wanted to put out the other side of the story because the other day, they just jumped right up and did Reader's story about, oh, they're just picking on me and you guys have to vote for me because I won the primary and bylaws and blah, blah, blah. He's all about, procedure and ethics when it benefits him, but when it doesn't, So, fuck you, WTAJ, because you guys... you're supposed to be doing journalism. You should be reporting both sides of the story. And there is a lot to the other side that apparently you don't care about. And I know I already sent you the podcast from that night. So if anybody wanted to do any digging, there's a whole other side to the story. This is an election. People need to know this shit. But,
exactly.
You guys do whatever you want. That's probably why your ratings suck.
Well, that's what infuriates me because I was growing up, I was always told that there's three sides to every story: your side, their side, and the truth. Which usually is a mix of both, usually. In other instances, it's a heavy lean one way or the other. But I've always kind of held on to that. So if I hear one side, I want to hear the other side. I want to hear both before I make my determination of what I feel is the truth based off of what I see then.
Yeah, it's like that experiment where they shoot the photons through the slit and then they're in all places at once or whatever. Kind of like that. Maybe not.
Maybe
Is that
not.
a bad analogy?
You lost me on that one for once. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still sick. I'm trying not to hack into the microphone and kill y'all's ears. It's hard. I
Yeah, we
might slip
both
up. I'm
kind of feel
sorry.
like shit, but this was too important to not do the show tonight.
Let's go.
So, but yeah, so I'm waiting for reader one. Big takeaways from this. WTAJ, do your job. Reader, denounce Ted's endorsement. And here's the other thing. So, because Reader's really pushing this, oh, I was a combat, whatever he has, his combat infantry badge. That's fine. Okay, that's great. That was years ago. And in the meantime, with your businesses and shit, you haven't conducted yourself in the best fashion. So why do you think, because once upon a time you were in combat, that's just a get out of jail card for everything? We're just supposed to ignore everything else. Because that seems to be, if you want to use that to, like, what thing do you want to use that on to, make it go away? Is it going to, the ethics thing, the construction business, maybe some people you ripped off? What's it going to be? Because on this show, one of the things, and just me personally, my beliefs is I don't think somebody should have something from their past hang over them for the rest of their lives if they turn shit around. But then you got the people like Ted, the people like Paul. They keep doing the same shit. Okay? I don't feel bad for those people, and I feel like, hey, here's proof that they've been doing the same shit all along. That's how I look at that. Whereas somebody that, once upon a time made a mistake or got accused of something or whatever, and they move on from it, it shouldn't be held over them forever.
At the same time, just because you did one really good thing in the past
Exactly.
doesn't make you safe
The
for the rest of
reverse
your
is
life.
also true. Just because you did something honorable in the past is not a get out of jail card for everything in the future.
Exactly. Accountability still has to be in play every single day of your life. You have to be held accountable for everything you do. Now,
Well, and especially with, if you want to run for office, if you're just Joe Schmo and you want to grift in the dark, that's fine. I don't care. It's when you start really scamming people, or you run for office and you're not maybe truthful about what's going on. You didn't have the greatest record leading up to it. That's the whole thing, is he touts this, oh, I'm a businessman. Your construction business went bankrupt. I've seen some of your construction work. Okay. It's pretty pathetic. That lady you screwed out of all that money is ridiculous. And you just act like she doesn't exist. Is that how you're going to run? Is that how you're going to run the county? Oh, we'll just screw this person over and pretend it didn't happen. That's just ridiculous.
Let's say it's one thing to start a business and it gets to a point where you have to recognize that you're not going to make a profit and have to, so to speak, ditch it. It's another thing just to continuously take on project after project after project with no sort of plan and just continuously show that you run it into the ground.
Yeah.
I can say that because I actually did have a small business for about 2 years. But then I got to the point where I had to realize that the cost to run my small business was much higher than what I could make, especially in this new location. And not only that, I ended up developing a health issue to it. I was working with 2-part epoxy resin. And frankly, I was a bit of an idiot about it. I didn't do enough research about the health hazards. I didn't have enough PPE behind it. I ended up developing an allergy, so I had to step out of the game. But at no point was I ever upside down with my business. You can attest to that because you met me right when I was starting it.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it. And you were still confused. Why the hell are all these grown-ass adults super into freaking Pokemon cards still?
Well, and the thing is, too, because honestly, that's not even a fair comparison either, because that and having a construction business where when you're making a product that people can buy if they want to, not buy if they don't want to, as opposed to, and it would be like if you took a contract to make X amount of resin pieces, you took the money, and then you were like, either the quality was terrible, you just didn't do it, whatever. That would be more of a fair comparison to what happened to Sharon. So
I could never put myself in that position. I've had projects where I screwed up the first 2 pieces and I told the person, I ended up eating it. I just don't have it in my mindset. And also I have a box of my shit sitting next to me, so it kind of reminds me.
Well, and that's the thing, is why the hell didn't he make that situation right before he ran?
Exactly.
And then there's the issue with him he should have resigned from the prison like John Hyde did, but no, he stayed there. Supposedly he was trying to get waivers or something, but it's just, I'd love to I don't think we could Sunshine Act that, but that would be interesting to see how how the paper trail actually went on that. But the guy's just, he tries to put on this persona of, I'm the honest Mr. whatever.
No.
But then he goes around telling everybody he's basically broke. But somehow he has, and I looked up the other night, to go from here to Kazakhstan is round trip minimum now, which it probably was more during the summer, I would imagine. Minimum cheapest flights was like $1,300.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Where'd he get that money from? Because in case any of you don't know, he went over to see his mail order bride, girlfriend, whatever the hell she is. And there's all kinds of videos. And guess what, Patrick? If you tell her to purge everything, you still have the videos. So got you two sucking face on there and everything. So don't try and deny it.
These videos are just weird to begin with because, like, there's no actual, like, audio of them
Yeah.
talking or even any background noise. It's just, like, straight overlay track. And, like, frankly, they're so cringe, I won't even watch them.
Well, and
This-
there is a chance that she's just scamming him, which would be absolutely hilarious.
That'd be
That
awesome,
would I would
actually.
love that.
I would love to find out.
But because I reached out to her and was quickly blocked. So
Shocker.
I don't know if she doesn't want to talk, maybe Patrick. Because here's the other thing, too, is because I have some Russian friends. And the first thing you find out about Russians is they don't really use Facebook. They have another thing that's called VK. It's basically like the Russian Facebook, like Yandex is the Russian Google. And so it's interesting. She only has like 30 some friends on there. So it's almost like she just made that to keep in touch with him, probably. But
The iceberg goes deeper.
the whole thing's just bizarre. If you get on and watch the videos, because her name is Regina Sabarov or something. I should just post her.
I'll say you're the expert Russian speaker here.
I'll
not me.
just dox her Facebook. You
Oh,
know, is that doxing now? Yeah, that'll be the next thing. He doxed my wife's Facebook. it's public. That's public. I don't know. It's the whole thing is just bizarre because he just I don't know. He has a way with words where he just lies. Seems to be the case.
I was gonna say.
So, but we're looking. Any of you guys want to have some input? 412-440-3484. And for all you window liquor skinheads, you're welcome to call in too. But don't be surprised if I call you out on your shitty ideology.
While we wait though, I can show off the coaster I made you.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I made this a while ago, and the camera's not going to do. Oh wow, it really fades. It's all the blue, I think.
Yeah.
But this is some of what I made, and I'm sure anyone from my old pages would recognize it. Or if you've ever gone to Sci-Fi Con, you would recognize. Let's see if one of these shakers shows up any better in the camera. This one's not finished, and it needs work. But oh wow, that's even worse.
completely translucent.
Well, you can see the back. There's a Pokemon card, and you can see
Yeah.
it's shiny. It's encased in 2-part epoxy. So I mean,
Yeah,
all kinds
she
of
used to
fun
make
stuff.
like 1,000 of those things.
Oh, 1,000's like an
It's
understatement.
like all she did was just make those damn things every day.
Yes, I actually have an entire tub like next to me. I'm not even gonna try and dig into it to get anything else, but I have a ton of products still that part of me wants to try and get rid of it. Part of me is like, you can't make any more, and you have Pokemon. Keep it happy. Keep it. It's a struggle, guys. It's a struggle.
Yeah, it is, but
Honestly, like, I know we keep talking about it, but we are getting more serious, because I've done more research into dropping some merch, i.e., like some T-shirts, the salamanders.
oh yeah, especially like instead of Return of the Jedi, I can have Return of Ted the Ped. Just have like a salamander with a lightsaber and a
Oh, definitely.
case of beer and some underage salamanders.
Probably, yeah. That'll work. I've been working hard, guys. I know I keep talking about it. It hasn't happened yet, but it is at work. It is at play. And honestly, if anyone is actually interested in any of the nerdy shit that I've made, let me know. I'll throw it up in the shop too if you guys have any interest in it. I mean, it's just kind of sitting here, and if anyone would like it, I would love to see it go to good homes. I make a lot of coasters and little keychains, and I've got some ducky magnets that I can see from here. I forgot I had them. I really want to go back to making resin. Why the hell did I have to get an allergy? I have so many cool molds.
Well, while we got a kind of a lull, wait and see if anybody wants to call in tonight. I'm going to cover another topic here that I wanted to get to. Now, this was from, I think, 2 weeks ago now. You guys probably saw the post where I was calling out Richard Lacker because he took those, was it PPP loans or something? They probably got forgiven. It says either forgiven or paid, but they probably got forgiven. You know, if Dick wants to call in and call me out on, oh, no, I paid him back, whatever. But here's him at this Hollidaysburg council meeting. And I don't understand why. Now, everybody knows there was, I think it was the chief of the Phoenix Fire Department, got charged and either pled guilty or was convicted to fraud, embezzlement, stealing money, whatever. And this dude is just relentless going after the fire department. So here's him from, I think this was, September 14th.
Latker, I live at 703 Allegheny Street. I am representing Hollidaysburg Community Watchdog.
Yeah, the
will speak
watchdog.
As quickly as I can. If I am unable to finish, either Carol can finish the remarks.
Yeah, just get on with it.
Perhaps she could cede time to me. However, Mr. President wants to see it happen.
This guy is like Ted level narcissist. I'm warning you right now if you don't know who he is.
We have heard complaints about cutting down mature trees along Penn Street. We don't have a
Oh, I forgot about this part. So yeah, he goes like full Lorax here.
position on that matter. We do have a position on process, however, and we don't know whether that process has happened. Hollidaysburg has a shade tree commission. It's quite a good one, from what I understand, with a lot of expertise in it. If the shade tree commission meets and takes public comment,
Lorax.
that's how you cut down
Speak for
mature
the
trees. If it's just one executive making that decision on behalf of the community, that's not good. So please make sure that process is followed. That's why the Shade Tree Commission is there. And from what I understand, Terry is exceptional. On the police, now, while the watchdog has indeed criticized Mayor Dodson in the past.
Okay, now keep in mind, this is where it pisses me off when he goes after the fire department, because there's a guy still working over at Hollidaysburg Police Department, Jeff Friday, who beat the shit out of a guy at one of Tom Dickey's parties a couple years ago. Should have been fired for that. It wasn't. And he was the one that Latker enlisted to try and come after me and some other people when we blew the whistle on the stuff that was going on with Amy Webster.
Yes,
So-
they have a shade tree commission, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Most do. I think Altoona does too. But
Sorry.
yeah, so when he just starts railing on the fire department here, it's just, he's a hypocrite.
For certain interactions with the Hollidaysburg Police. In the matter at hand, he is absolutely correct. We are incredibly fortunate to have one of the finest police chiefs in the state, someone far more accomplished than one typically finds in a small central Pennsylvania town. Chief Storm has decades of experience managing law enforcement operations. Jim Garrett has none. Mr. Garrett has no business messing around with the chief's operation or his people. The legal brief you've
Does he not have oversight as a council person?
received, and Mr. Mayor, I think is going to read, makes this abundantly clear. Moreover, in a popularity contest in this community between Chief Storm and Jim Garrett, who do you think is going to win? The community supports our police chief. Let him run his own department. He's much better at it than Jim Garrett, and it is the right and lawful thing to do. Before you tonight is a request that Borough Council apply for a $500,000 state grant on behalf of the Phoenix Volunteer Fire Department. The watchdog has little doubt that council will approve this request with perhaps one or two dissenters. It will then send an application to the Department of Community and Economic Development. Then the watchdog will launch into action. First, we will contact every individual on the 7-member board of the Commonwealth Finance Authority, which must approve the grant, and acquaint them with the history and current status of the fire department.
Okay, this is what pisses me off.
Yeah.
What evidence does he have that there's any embezzlement or anything going on right now in the fire department?
None.
He doesn't. He's just making it up because, oh, well, they already got the guy that was involved with that, but let's just keep railing on him.
Make sure that they're fully aware that more than $500,000 in municipal funds to the PFD remains entirely unaccounted for during a time up through at least 2021 when the organization was controlled by convicted embezzlers.
Once again, what the hell does that have to do with the current people over there?
Basically, fuck the community.
Even after the convictions of the PVFD chief and treasurer, Borough Council never lifted a finger to ensure a fully public audit of the agency. It raised no objection when the convicted chief's son was appointed to take his place. Excuse me.
Okay, so was the chief's son involved in any of this? I mean, I'm not really a fan of nepotism either, but if you're going to rail against these guys, you better have something.
Most importantly, the borough is applying for a grant knowing full well that the PVFD's volunteer team is now run by a man with 2 convictions under the state arson code. We'll include an affidavit from the district attorney attesting to the fact that this man is prohibited from being a firefighter in Pennsylvania, much less one with rank and power, and that the borough is full.
No, actually, the statute doesn't specify. It just says you can't be a firefighter. So he just made that up too.
Shocker.
I know the individual, and if he wants to call in and tell his side of the story, because Lacker goes on to basically act like this guy was going around burning people's houses down or something, which simply is not the case. This stuff happened years ago. He's basically more or less dedicated his life to public service. He currently has a pardon in to get those charges pardoned or whatever. And I think it would be really stupid to remove him. He's, oh, it's a violation, whatever. I'm telling you, if your house is burning down, you'd rather he show up than not. Because that is a ton of training hours, a ton
Absolutely.
of experience. You're not just going to... And we already know the volunteer fire departments are having a hard enough time getting people anyway. So we go from wah, money embezzlement to, oh, he has charges from years ago. Okay. Why is that an issue now?
Exactly.
Why is just because Lacker, for whatever reason, has a stick up his ass about this fire department? I don't know why. Now, I'm not going to say that, the watchdog group never does anything good. They do. But he's wrong on this one. Absolutely wrong on this one. So, once again, guys, 412-440-3484. I mean, I really thought, since I sent that email last night, Reader was going to call in and, I don't want the skinhead vote.
The ducks are coming for you this time.
The ducks in the south. Salamanders.
Yep. Hey, why is that one actually showing up half decent? What the heck? I mean, it's phasing a little bit, but
Well,
hey, we got one.
It's because it's a
Yellow.
yeah. BDTR Live, what's on your mind?
I need to talk about Reader.
Yeah.
So I was calling and I got kind of thinking about the touch on integrity.
Uh-huh.
So have you ever seen the record?
Cut him off. BDTR Live, what's on your mind?
Hey, I wanted to give you guys a call. I'm not union. I'm another member of Borough Council.
Uh-huh.
If you can excuse me for one quick second, sir. To whoever just called in, we're sorry we cut you off. If you can wait till the end of this call, please call back in. He hit the wrong button by mistake. We're not trying to cut anybody off tonight. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. I sat down today and tried to write some things out because there's really so much when it comes to Patrick Reader for my union.
Mm-hmm.
But being on Borough Council, he, up until about a year ago, attended every single meeting. And I've been on council almost 7 years. And to the public, he is very good at selling himself, which, is obvious by the election results. But he was good at selling himself to people that didn't know him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he almost got zero support from Mount Union.
And there's plenty of reason for that, and there's honestly too much for a phone call, but just wanted to try and call in and just playing off of the things you've seen now and the way he acts online. He's always the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Being on council, I hear from a lot of people in town. He will tell anybody whatever they want to hear. And then later, it just nothing happens. I have messages from a person that he has trailers that he parks all over town, and most of them don't have license on them. One sat outside a borough resident's house for over a year, and they contacted me about what to do. And once I told them that, they would have to file a police report and all that, they said they didn't want to do that because they were afraid of retaliation from Patrick.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
And I have text messages showing the person saying that. But it's hard to talk. I like me calling in here. I know whatever I say, if I say the slightest thing a little bit wrong, it's going to be exaggerated and twisted. And I mean, for somebody who's so honest and transparent,
Allegedly.
is not.
We understand. Take your time. If you need a second to like think how to word something to not reveal too much, we completely understand.
Well, and the best
Well,
part is this is recorded. It's going to be on the internet. So if he says they said that, anybody can come listen to it again, and it's going to be what it is. This is live. We don't cut anything out. So
Yeah. I don't know. There's so many things that I can't even, I'm trying to think now of more examples, but, I don't know. It's honestly not hard to get on. He has his Facebook open and doesn't take a lot down. You can go back through and see repeated attacks against Mount Union Borough. If I have a conversation between me and him, and it goes from respectful and asking questions to "you're an idiot, you need to step down," and then something else would come up, and it's something he's passionate about, and there were times where I actually voted in favor of what he wanted. Then I would get messages saying, "You're really stepping up your game. I wanted to just call and give credit where it's due." So as long as you agree with him,
yeah,
you're a great person.
yeah.
The second you don't,
You're the devil.
you're harassing his ideas.
Speaking of
And,
idiots that need to step down, I think he should take his own advice on that one.
Well, I guess one more thing I want to go into real quick, just because everybody knows the ongoing with the Ethics Commission and that. 2 years ago, he ran for borough council, and it was all the same things. There's people in town, people on council that know people at the prison. Everybody was told from the very beginning. He was told no from the very beginning, and I heard it from people throughout the whole election process. But the whole election process, it was, it takes time. It's fine. And then he actually won that election because it was Mount Union First Ward, and they get like 40 votes total. And he managed to win the election, and then he was silent on Facebook for 2 weeks, and then came up with a story that they changed their mind at the last minute and told him he was not eligible.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same as now. It's exactly the same as now, except now you're talking about a real job versus basically community service for $60 a month or something. So he wasn't going to leave his job for that. But
I didn't break any over.
he can't say he didn't know what he was doing when he resigned or failed to resign this time, because this is not the first time.
And that's something that we speculated on as well. Is he just gonna is he gonna win this thing, and then just when the repercussions eventually catch up, he's just gonna have some bullshit story as to why he magically, oh well, this reason, that reason, I'm gonna step down. Either way, it's gonna cause problems for Huntingdon County. Please excuse Charlie. He had to step away for a moment.
If it goes forward the way that I understand the rules to be, and if he would win the election, you'll be, and they ask to remove him, you'll be looking at a hell of an excuse.
Exactly.
Because it will not be his fault.
He definitely strikes me as the type. It seems like more and more, because I'm not really a political person. I didn't really even agree to come onto the podcast until, as I keep referencing, we got what I thought was a joke that Ted was running back when that happened. So
Lo and behold, he comes on and, endorses Reader, so you can't make this shit up.
I'm slightly ignorant to politics, but I kind of like that too, because it lets me kind of have a different perspective versus my husband here on how, he knows a lot about politics and can tear through it. I look more about the people. I love watching people. I like being around people. I'm a people person. And I'm noticing more and more there's a pattern with certain types of these people. And I know they're very different, but in a way, Ted Paul, Reader, they all have similarities that kind of I've picked up on a pattern. It's like, holy shit, these shitbags all have certain things in common.
Yep.
And it is that they try to present themselves as extremely charismatic. to
I'm a
people
great
who,
person.
well,
I'm
yeah,
always the
they-
victim. Yeah,
they
it's
always
always
have
the
that.
same thing.
It's always the same thing, and they're very charismatic to anyone who doesn't actually know them. They're very good at portraying whatever persona that they want. But the minute any kind of heat gets on them, and someone who knows them comes into play, suddenly you're dealing with
And
a
you're
6-year-old.
you're attacking
yeah.
them, and all this shit.
It doesn't take long for them to unravel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's the biggest thing is to turn it around. Whatever he does wrong, he will come back and accuse you of doing. And you said like the military service thing. He's got to drag everybody into that with him. You're disrespecting 4,000 soldiers.
Yeah.
No, it's one person. Just because if you've been in the military, you have my respect that you did that. But that doesn't mean when you come out of the military that you're going to be a great person no matter what.
No, and you
frankly,
don't get a
even
free
when you're in
pass
the
on everything either.
I'm sorry, even when you're in the military, frankly, I met a lot of shitbags that were in the military for the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people were in it for the wrong reasons. There's a lot of good people in it for the right reasons, but don't make any mistake. Hold us all on a higher pedestal, like especially anyone that served, but also scrutinize them a little harder because there are a lot of people that join for the wrong reasons, just to have that little bit of power to hold above people's heads. And
it's just another perfect example. He's supposed to be Mr. Transparent and everything, and all he does is block people on his page.
Yeah, I've been blocked. I'm not blocked now, but I told myself probably 2 years ago I will no longer, I'll comment if he comments somewhere else, but I will not post on his Facebook.
Good idea.
Because that's the big reason I think a lot of people are not as outspoken vocal, because they know there is going to be retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be exaggeration of what you said, and you're the bad guy.
Yep.
So
I'm more than happy to be the bad guy in this story if it means getting other people who don't know the story to actually listen to a different side of it, to do their own research, to actually realize whatever truth they find.
Huntingdon's got a chance to dodge a bullet, and it's going to be up to the voters on election day to make that choice.
Exactly. All we can do in the meantime is talk about it.
So is there anything else you wanted to cover, or because we want to try and get as many people in? I know there's at least one other person trying to call.
Yeah, I'll let you go so you can get the other person on.
Okay.
But anybody that comes to my union, if you ask anybody what their opinion is of Mr. Reader, you probably got about a 90% chance it's going to be
negative.
yes.
Obviously.
Right.
And there's a reason for that, and I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing, because you may help Huntingdon County dodge a bullet here.
We're hoping to.
Hopefully.
Like I said.
Like
we
you
don't
said,
live
it's
there
up to the
now.
voters. You guys got to get out and vote. You got to be registered to vote, and then you got to actually get out and vote.
Yes.
And then you got to write in Kurt. So
Exactly. And no matter what
Yep,
anybody says, we're not there, but Huntingdon County will forever be my home. So I will forever be invested and rooting for Huntingdon.
absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Hey, man. Thanks
All
for
right,
calling.
well, thanks, you guys.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yep, bye.
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 All right. Anybody else want to give her a ring?
To the other, I believe it was a gentleman, forgive me if I'm wrong. To the other person who
Yes.
called in, we are sorry, we did not mean to cut you off. I was trying to tell him not to hit that button without saying
I'm not sure which. Do you hit the other?
You just gotta hit the you don't hit anything. Just basically let it ring through to nothing, because if when you hit that it was end and answer, whereas the other one would have been end and pause, or the other one's just flat out end, which ends all the calls.
Yeah.
There is no good way to it.
BDTR Live. What's on your mind?
Put in earlier. I got hung up on.
Welcome
I'm
back.
sorry.
Yeah, we're
We're
sorry.
sorry.
That was totally my fault.
Thank you for calling back.
I as I said, sorry for my accent. Sometimes speak with heavy tongue. So I wanted to talk about integrity on the candidate that you're speaking about.
Mm-hmm.
I went and I looked over the docket sheet for the individual for Pennsylvania.
On the portal.
And he's been in trouble with law a lot.
Well, a lot of those are lawsuits too. He sued a lot of people.
Yeah, I saw he sued a transmission company in Altoona.
I think that was one of the ones he lost. There was that, and I'd have to go back and look. I know the most recent one he lost the most recent one. So because that's what he
Yeah,
does. Anytime anybody tries to criticize, oh, I'll sue, whatever. It's just like Ted, for liable.
yeah, yeah. I see. Since the earliest I found was 2015,
Hmm.
and I up to 22. I close to probably 15 to 20 enactments with law. Uh, it's where I come from. That's quite a bit of legal activity for someone who wants to be in a political capacity.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Uh, I think that the residents here in Huntingdon County need to look clearly uh, into the integrity of a person who can't manage to follow basic vehicle maintenance proceedings, such as driving without inspection on your vehicle.
Well, and then when you look at
Uh,
how his construction company does work, it's not all that surprising.
He's making a very good point, though. If he's willing to disregard such a simple law, he
Yeah.
obviously is not morally following the right
Well,
code.
yeah, and if you want to hold public office and you're going to be the one dictating essentially how other people have to live, more or less. Maybe that's a little bit extreme, but you should at least be able to follow the rules yourself.
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, and it's just happened one time. It happened multiple times. Not inspecting vehicle,
Mhm.
not having the registration, and then he got in trouble with not following rule on the river or something through Fish and Boat Commission.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I think if you're going to run for elected office, you need to hold yourself to some sort of standard, and the standard don't seem to exist whenever you can't even manage to pay your $40 to get your car inspected.
I
Yeah.
don't think we could have said it better
Or the
ourselves.
registration. I mean, you can go online and do that in like 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You've put that
it
perfectly.
is every Pennsylvanian responsibility who own a vehicle
Hmm.
to do that.
Yep.
When we moved here, it was new for me and my family. But if you're from here, clearly it's something your parents do, your parents have done, and then you'll do.
Well, and even if
I
you
guess.
move here, you still have to abide by the laws.
And it's just goes to show
Exactly.
you came wherever you came from and you took the time to learn the laws, to do things right, to respect the process. And here's someone, as you were alluding to, I think, who's from here should already know the process and basically is spitting in the face of the process, but then wants to turn around and take office to tell the common people, hey, you have to do XYZ, when they won't even do the most basic
Yep.
ABC.
Exactly. And that's where I think that if you do what you're responsible for is basic human, and I understand Mr. Ria provides housing for different people. If you don't do basics for life or for vehicles, what are you doing for the people you provide the housing for?
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely
So
agree.
there is an open-end question here and there, but I think that even through the toughest things to ask questions for the public too, it's just you go down rabbit hole, and you really hope for good answers that you want to hear.
Agreed.
And I think that Mr. Reader is the only one who wants to hear those goods. You'll talk about censoring and things of that nature. I totally could see that. I'm not on Facebook or anything, but I just think it's something that people really need to open their eyes to.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I mean, again, us all public information
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, and I really do think that if the people of the county go and do their due diligence, then it should be up to the voter, which is why we have democracy.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
Well, it is, but the thing is everybody's you gotta get out and vote, and you actually gotta write the name into the guy who deserves it more than Reader. So
You made a lot of really good, valid points tonight. I'm really glad that you called in because you did offer a really good perspective, I think, to
Absolutely.
people to think about. Because, yes, it's up to everyone in this community to do their due diligence, to do their own research, and to realize whether or not someone's playing essentially smoke and mirrors. If they
Yep.
genuinely actually care about the community and the people coming into it and making it a bigger community to make it thrive better. There's a lot of people, obviously, you and your family came to Huntingdon County, maybe I might be wrong there, but like you obviously cared enough to call in, and we're really glad that you did. You made a lot of really great points. Like, even if you're not in the county, you wherever it is you came from, you cared enough to call in. So the people of Huntingdon County, like, come on, pick up the bar.
yeah,
Pick
exactly.
up the bar. This
Yeah.
gentleman's making a wonderful point. Like, do your due diligence and get this done right. Care about the county. Make it thrive.
yeah. I mean, we come here to have freedom, and we have freedom in Europe, but it's not as the same as what is here in USA.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you.
I mean, to see someone such as this candidate be, according to everybody, so non-transparent, it's kind of disheartening whenever you come to these areas, especially in both my family come across ocean and everything. It kind of takes some wind out of your sails,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know the other candidates at all, but at this point, I can't say that I support Rita in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it sounds like you've definitely done your research and you all have made a heck of a journey over here, and we welcome you with open arms, especially since, again, Huntingdon County, we have someone completely not even from our own country coming over here and holding our, laws and regulations to such
Yeah.
a high regard.
Yep.
Are you really going to allow this other gentleman, if that's a stretch, Reader, to come in and squash that? Seriously.
Yeah.
All right.
Obviously, there's an appeal here, so let's keep it going.
Yeah, we really appreciate you calling in, though.
Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
You too.
BDTR Live. What's on your mind?
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello.
Why, you've probably heard of the person that readers that, hello?
Hello.
Yep, we're here. Can she hear us?
Can you hear me?
Okay, hello.
Hello. We're still here. Can you hear
There's
us?
a big. Okay, hello.
We're still here. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
There's a huge delay. That's the problem. That was me saying
Okay, here we go. I got you now.
Okay.
Why, you heard of the person that. You heard of the person that Reader's Company did the remodeling on the
Yes.
kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I happen to be that person.
Oh, really?
And I got to tell you something, that how evil this man is. The people that he had working for him. Well, for one thing, I just found out recently the business does not have a license, therefore it wasn't insured.
Wow.
And he paid the guys under the table, so he paid them cash, so there was no, what do you call it, workers' comp paid, no Social Security, none of that stuff. It was all, because I just recently looked up to see if there was even a license on this week or last week. I looked it up, and there was none.
I guess we can add the IRS to the list of people who are going to be coming after.
Pardon me.
We can add the IRS to the list of people coming after Mr. Reader at this point.
Yeah,
since-
really. Okay, so anyway, here's one of the evil things that he did while he was doing my kitchen. There was three guys that they had working, and I don't want to be mean to them, but two of them didn't have driver's license because they were pretty heavy, I guess, into drugs and things, and they were trying to get their life back together. And the third guy was the only one that had a driver's license, so they had to have this three-man crew because only one guy could drive. So the one guy, I called him kind of puppy dog because he was kind of like just laid back and do whatever they said. And so Reader had to go pick something up, so he took the puppy dog guy with him. Reader knew that his truck wasn't inspected or had a license. He made the puppy dog guy drive, knowing he did not have a driver's license, and they got picked up. So the next thing I know, puppy dog guy is back in rehab.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the dirty, evil things that Reader does to people. He has no scruples, no conscience, absolutely nothing. He is an evil, wicked human being.
That's just
It's just sad.
So he basically found a couple of people trying to get their life back together and then set it up or made it sure that, so he didn't have to pay them. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
wrong with him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's sorry, hold on just 1 second. I have to turn the timer off. I got a pressure canner going.
Oh, you're fine. He's fixing my mic right now because I
There you
apparently knocked into it earlier. And
Okay.
Is that better?
I'm back. But in another thing he did, of course, my whole thing went through arbitration and I won. But one of the things he wrote on his opening statement was that I went to the Huntingdon County Planning Commission, and he's big on saying that people slander him. And he said that I slandered his name by going to these members and talking to each one of them and running him down to them. The funny thing is, at the time, I didn't even know he was on the Planning Commission, nor do I even know any of these people.
Right.
So it was, and he put this on an opening statement, swearing as if he were under oath. So he perjured himself right there. I mean, he has, like I said, he has no ethics, no morals, nothing.
Right.
sounds like it.
There's nothing there's no low he won't stoop to.
Well, and the other thing is too, how did you slander him if you didn't say anything untrue? You're like, hey, this was what they were supposed to do. They didn't do it. They charged me money for it.
That's what I said to him multiple times. And he'll say, that's slander. I'm going to sue you. And I'll say, it's only slander, dummy, if it's a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
You should have told him it's not slander, it's salamander.
But see, that doesn't go along with what he thinks. Everything has to be by his rules and what he believes.
Yep.
If you don't believe it that way, then you're the bad guy.
Yep.
This sounds like a child or a tantrum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Temper tantrum.
Temper tantrum. Thank you. Words are eluding me.
Very
Mhm.
childish.
My
That's all I
word.
really wanted to tell you about the puppy dog guy. That just really upset me, and the other two guys were very upset about it because this guy was just a pushover. He just and he was working really hard to get his driver's license back, so that probably destroyed that for him.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
especially if he got nail driving without a license again, that's going to push it back at least a year plus for him to have any opportunity, maybe.
Well, there comes a point where they really push it back too, because I know
Yeah.
people that lost their license for years over that.
Yep. That's
The one
crap.
guy, the foreman, had lost it for 11 years.
Dang.
Yeah. So, but that's about it. I just wanted to check in. Someone sent me the link that you were live, and I thought, I gotta say something here.
Well, thank you
Absolutely.
for coming on to talk because we were actually kind of hoping at some point you might come on because we are upset for you that happened because that's absolute crap. Like you pay a lot of money and you expected a certain renovation. I'm sure you had a beautiful image in your head and it was promised to you and then you got crap. I'm sorry. I know how I feel about my kitchen, so
I'm not even worried about the money now. It's just that he is so evil that nothing would bring me more joy than to know that he went to prison.
I know that
Because
feeling.
He's done so many things that I'm sure he belongs there. So,
Completely understand that. And I hope that your kitchen has recovered since the hurricane that was Reader came through.
yeah.
I would be devastated. I spend too much time in my kitchen.
I'll let you guys go, and hey, keep up the good work.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Yep. Thanks for calling in.
Have a great rest of your night.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. What was out there? Did you see?
No, it was. I gotta clean the spider webs off the
Gosh, darn it.
cameras still. Yeah, if
Must
you
be
guys heard
mittens.
that in the background, that was the driveway alarm. So
I'm waiting for Mittens to come back. And before y'all give me weird looks and comments, there was a random ginger cat that showed up probably about a week ago, and it had perfect little white paws. So I dubbed her Mittens. And I don't think it belongs to anybody. And I'm low-key hoping this cat comes back because it was super friendly. It was definitely young. It had no collar. And it's getting cold out. So I keep putting out little cans of tuna and things of food, hoping it at least is eating.
well, the
Because,
full name's gonna be Mittens Romney the Rhino. For all you guys out there that can appreciate that. But
it's the first I'm hearing, but I appreciate it.
Mittens Romney.
It's a super cute cat. I just want to know it's okay. Even if it belongs to, like, if it belongs to someone, great. But, like, at the same time, it's getting cold. And believe it or not, I actually have a heart. As much as I usually don't like cats,
We don't
I
even
just
know
like animals.
whose dog's who down here because like the dogs
yeah.
just run free. It's like you drive down the road and there's just like there's literally one of the towns I was delivering to the other day. Guy just walks right across the main intersection with his dog, no leash, no nothing. Dog's just galloping around the middle of the road. It's like it's a whole different world some places down here, but
Some places, everywhere down here. Every time I leave our house, I'm like, where the hell did we move again? Oh, yeah.
some are worse than others. But it's
Fair.
like the further south, like my route is the south route. So the further south you get, it's like the people don't even speak English down there. It's weird.
It is weird. We have so many random things. Like earlier in our community page on Facebook, I saw somebody was like, hey, anyone driving down this road, keep your eyes out for this goat wearing a collar. Got out of the freaking neighbor's yard again. Like everyone knows whose goat it is.
Yeah.
It's got a collar. It just happens to be an escape artist. Apparently they need to redeem the damn thing to Houdini. So everyone's like, okay, I'll grab it if I see it. And like the day I texted you, our alarm went off and I opened the garage door and I have 5 freaking black Angus standing in our yard. It's like every time. It's exciting. Is it going to be a turtle, a cat, a dog?
Do a
freaking
new
cow?
song. Like, goats.
Oh my God, no. I got that out of
That's
my
going to be
head.
stuck in everybody's mind now.
I got that out of my head for like a week.
I
Monster.
think I had like 3 or 4 people message me when I played the Bots on Parade, if you guys remember the Sunday night special.
And that all started from like Fallout 76 because Modus is like super creepy. And that's why on my like Toxic Tunes, you'll see me like, will you join us on another walk? In your head, look up the Modus voice if you don't know it from 76. That's kind of the voice I
We have
in my
so
head.
many inside jokes, and I can imagine a lot of you guys are just sitting back like, what the hell just happened? But we're here laughing because it's funny to us. But
It is. Between the inside jokes, my random freaking like outfits, because I know y'all don't really get it, but like when I'm in the sunglasses and crap, I'm specifically cosplaying a certain character because I've been like slowly incorporating more of like my own little jokes to myself inside of stuff, hoping somebody kind of catches on and says something. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you recognize it in the future, let me know. If not, I understand. I know I'm a nerd. I'm sorry.
all right, guys, we're getting down to the wire here. So
We are. I'm
412-440-3484 if anybody else wants to call in.
You got me for 5 more minutes. and I'm
Skinheads, you're no
tired.
longer welcome because it's
No.
my show and I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So
And I'm tired and I'm ornery. I really don't feel like screaming at the end of this, okay? I just want to go watch YouTube.
Ted's going to come in. You guys are liable.
I'm thinking about it. I got to talk about it now. So I know you guys probably aren't going to care as much as I am, but I'm super excited. It's going to be wild for one of our late October shows near Halloween because we're going to have a very special guest on sometime in October in person as well. It's not going to be a face thing. We're still figuring out the logistics of how to set everything up, but we're going to have an actual in-person guest with us.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to use the green screen. We don't have
No.
enough room.
No, we're not. I'm excited because, like I said, y'all probably aren't going to care, but this means a lot to me, and I'm just super excited. And she doesn't know she's coming on yet, so I'm probably going to have to call her tomorrow and be like, by the way.
Well, and don't don't forget, guys, Wednesday for the presidential debate. I know I haven't made the event yet. I'll just actually have to remember to do that right after the show, but we're doing the watch party and for the Republican presidential debate. So, like I said, I'm going to try and do the stream on Facebook. If for whatever reason they nix it because I'm streaming from Rumble, we'll just do the stream on Rumble. There'll be links to everything. So if it gets nixed, just go to the Rumble channel and I'll be up over there.
And again, you do not have to have a Rumble account. You can just come on the View. It's kind of like a YouTube thing. Don't feel overwhelmed that you have to make another
like
thing.
YouTube. Now, the only thing is, if you want to get in the live chat over there, I think you do have to make. But I mean, it's simple to make an account.
Oh, we got one. We got one more.
BDTR Live, what's on your mind?
Calling in and I heard Miss Rehart call in and she was sharing distaste about how Mr. Reader ran his business.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of, I can confirm a little bit as to some of that stuff she touched base on.
Right.
A few years back, I used to work with a gentleman, now since deceased. He passed away here this past year. He actually worked for Mr. Reader under the table, and not only did he not pay people correctly the legal way, he oftentimes wouldn't even pay this gentleman. He would always end up getting in mouth spats with him back and forth about whether or not he was going to get paid, and then the gentleman I used to work with used to say, well, then I'm not doing anything else for you until you pay me. And he told me a couple stories, backhanded things that he would have his workers do for him. And a couple things were not kosher, but, you know, it's disheartening to hear that Miss Rehart got taken for as much money as she did. It's more than disheartening. It's just plain right disgusting.
Right.
And I personally feel bad for her and anyone else that he maybe did that to. I don't know if it was anyone else. I don't think anyone else has stepped forward, but you know.
Well, I mean, if that's how he treats his freaking employees, how's he going to treat his customers? You know,
How's he going to treat the county?
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, at the same token, like, I understand, like, you want to hire people, but people are supposed to be licensed, like she said, for a reason. Get licensed through the Attorney General's office. There's, depending on what services you provide, dictate whether or not you have to take certain skills or certain skill tests through the state to obtain your license. Like, if you want to be a licensed plumber or so, you have to take a license test. I went to trade school for plumbing and heating, and I didn't go any farther after school because plumbing, whenever I was graduating and coming out of school, the plumbing was getting simpler. So now to the point where you really don't need to go to school for plumbing because people don't solder pipes anymore. People don't do, all the things that I was trained in school anymore. It's just slap everything together. And
It's all shark fittings and whatever those other ones are called.
Yeah. I mean, there's no skill set for what I went to school for, which I didn't know that whenever I was, signed the papers to go to school. But anyway.
Well, no, I hear what you're saying, because even my uncle was a plumber for years and years. And, like, even when I went through school, it was always, like, joked to me that, like, hey, it might be a shitty job, but plumbing pays well.
Yeah.
It does. It did pay well. It's just, unfortunately, where I'm at, it really wasn't a income to live off of. But furthermore, I mean, if you would have just done, I guess my biggest concern is, why wouldn't, if you wanted to start a construction business, why wouldn't you just go through the steps and do what everyone is supposed to be done?
Well, because he thinks he's entitled that he doesn't have to. That's his MO on everything.
But that's scary, especially with construction. So much can go wrong. Like, the employees, the insurance, God forbid, one of them like slip, fall, something happened to them on the job, if they assume everything's licensed and they're
Well, and
covered,
if
and then they
he's
find
paying
out they're
people under the
not.
table, he doesn't give a shit about his employees. If he doesn't give a shit about his employees, he's not going to give a shit about the customers. I mean, that's a fact.
Which is sad.
Right. And I mean, and not so much the insurance end of it, but like not just our insurance for the staff, but what about the insurance for his business? When I was working plumbing, we had to carry, each of us individually had to carry $1 million insurance policy.
Jeez.
Like liability and
up.
stuff like that.
Yeah, just in case we fucked up something.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Human
we screwed
error.
something up. Yeah, we screwed something up. Property was getting damaged. You either had shit flowing in places you didn't want shit flowing, or you had water damage.
Right. Well, and
Or
that's the
if you were
thing
on
too,
the
is, you could have an issue where whatever you do, for whatever reason, like you did things right, but for whatever reason, the customer's like, oh, I don't like how this was done, whatever. But then you look at like the pictures from what they did to Sharon's house, and it's like, no one in their right mind's going to think that shit's acceptable,
Now, I haven't seen any photos.
There's on the page, somebody put together like a whole list. There's a bunch of photos.
Oh, I didn't see any
That's rough.
photos. I guess I'll have to look out for those. But
Yeah, they're
I mean,
they're
You got
pretty
the
bad.
time, take a gander. It'll really solidify your opinions.
They're pretty bad.
I mean, that's my thing too. Like if he didn't go get his license for the construction company, was anything filed legally? Was anything reported to the IRS? Like, you're talking, if nothing was done that formal way, I mean, that's kind of like tax evasion, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
Oh yeah.
how can you take in, and I mean, that wasn't a little bit of money. I think she said she paid like $20,000 for a kitchen. Was that $20,000 ever reported?
Well, that's the thing, is not only is he on the
Yes.
hook for that, but then his employees are getting paid under the table. If they get busted for that, they're going to be in deep shit too,
I really
Yeah,
hope the
right.
IRS is listening, like they're always listening.
Yeah, like I don't understand how. I mean, I know it happens a lot. I've been in construction for a pretty long time, and I know there's a lot of people out there that do exactly what Patrick's done. So he's not the only person in Pennsylvania that's done it.
Right. But that's
But-
the thing. Like I said, if you want to grift in the back corner, break the rules, whatever, don't come out and say, I'm going to run for office. I'm a great person and all this and that, when your history is anything but, he served in combat once upon a time. So we're just supposed to ignore everything he's done since.
Yeah, I heard a lot about that too. That he likes to throw that out, and you guys have mentioned that. I don't see it as much as probably everybody else does, but it's definitely something that makes you wonder. Go like scratch the back of your head. What the hell?
Yep.
But that's all I had. Thanks for taking the call.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling in.
Yep.
Have a good night.
You
You
too.
as well.
Thanks again. Bye. All right, guys. So, I think we covered as much as we planned on, and even a little bit more. I didn't
We've
expect.
run the show over longer than we usually do. So, reader, you have no excuse. You had your window. We're done. Frankly, I'm tired, y'all. Like, we need to wrap this up.
forgot my password to sign into my email, guys. That'll be the, or maybe
Probably.
Chris Ann's dog ate his phone. I don't know.
Why'd you go there? I'm trying not to die, okay?
It's just too funny not to. But,
I
hey, really, guys, we appreciate everybody calling in, because when you guys get
you.
in there, whether you're in the chat, you call in, whatever, makes the show 100% better. We can bounce ideas off of each other. We can share stories. And especially, I'm so glad that Sharon called in, because everybody needs to know what he did to her. And it's just disgusting. And the fact that we're just supposed to give him a free pass because he was a combat vet once upon a time. That's
No.
a terrible
No.
argument.
I do love, like you said, that the amount of people that call in, that comment. I love seeing familiar faces. I love seeing new faces. I love the amount of calls that we're getting. And I love now that we're getting, especially the variety of calls that we're getting.
Mhm.
I'm super happy. And thank you, everyone, for not being complete you-know-what's about the gentleman's thick accent and for sticking through it. Because he had a lot of great points. Honestly,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
probably one of my favorite calls in tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Because he did point out a lot of basic shit that we who are from here, we kind of forget about it. We're used to it. We grew up with it. So for someone from an outlier coming in to kind of point out, like, I had to learn all this. I'm following the rules. I'm doing it right. Like, we're happy to be here, but now we're disappointed to see this. Like, that kind of hurts more than anything, in my opinion. Like, people come to America because they value and cherish the freedom. And then they get to small towns like Huntingdon and they expect a certain thing. And then to see someone like Reader, I think honestly that's why I enjoyed that call so much, because like I felt that in my soul a little bit. Like, that would I absolutely infuriate me too if I completely relocated to a different country dreaming of something better, and then just to find out that it's, I'm not going to say worse because I don't know their situation. I'm not going to even gleam to pretend I know, but like that just it infuriates me. Like, especially a complete outlying. You know what I'm getting at. It's just going to infuriate me if I keep going on about it.
When I worked in state college, there was a handful of guys that had, because there's kind of a little bit of a former Soviet Union immigrant population up in state college, and a couple of them had worked at the factory I worked at up there. So I kind of learned this perspective a long time ago from folks that, you know, they come from, you know, whether it was Ukraine or there was one guy from Ukraine, one was actually from Russia, one was from Kazakhstan. And, you know, when they tell stories about growing up, you know, and how things were, because they were all older guys, so they actually grew up in the Soviet Union. And coming to America and seeing the differences, and you can actually talk to them about, you know, like what was communism actually like. And, you know, surprisingly, they said there were things like, I know the one thing Oleg would always say is about how good the school transportation system was. He's like, well, yeah, that's one good thing. And then, you know, everyone have same car. You all drive same model of car, same model of car. Like, I used to be able to do his accent pretty good. I can't anymore. But it was funny because he was a really outgoing guy. His English wasn't the best. And when like he'd get real excited, he was hard to understand sometimes. So it's like, Oleg, calm down. I want to.
I love those people. I love those people.
I think I'm still friends with his son on Facebook. I wonder if he found the podcast yet.
You should get a hold of him. Yeah. I should poke at my sister-in-law and see if she would want to come on sometime, since she's not originally from here either.
Yeah.
Yeah, before any y'all give me shit, my sister-in-law is Latina and I love her to death. And if you fuck around too much, she will throw the chalaka at you. I know that's a real thing. That's 100% a real thing. Because my older brother, fun fact, my older brother's turning 50 this year. 50. There's an age gap between us kids. So like growing up, his oldest is like my age for a month. So she will be my age for about a month before I hit the next age without revealing my age. Like any woman, you know, we won't do that. So like growing up, I witnessed
I'm the oldest one
my...
here. I don't know what she's worried about, but other than the dog, I guess
the dog is definitely older than all of us.
The dog's like older than dirt in dog years. So, all right, guys. We'll call it a night here. I think we've definitely covered everything we set out to cover and then some. So we will, like I said, Wednesday, come back if you're interested in the debate. If you've never watched a debate before,
might be worth watching.
Turn it on for a couple minutes. See, I think
commentary is great from this one.
I think I will keep it interesting with snarky commentary. So
100%.
We'll see how it goes.
Thank you everyone for joining us, whether it be at the beginning or the end. We appreciate everybody that stops in at any point, even if you join after the live. Thank you so much for everyone that stops in to hear what we have to say.
Yep.
We really
and remember,
appreciate
we throw it up on Spotify, iHeartRadio. That's the audio only versions. And then we got it on YouTube and Rumble too. So plenty of ways to listen. If you can't make the live, like we said, we prefer you do the live so you can call in, get in the chat, whatever. So till next time.
Have a good night.